Hey everybody, welcome to our second episode of Cookin' and Country, and we're really excited today to bring to you one of my very favorite recipes of all time, Charleston Red Rice. It's pretty much like a hug in a bowl, and bacon, rice and bacon grease. It's really terrible for you, but it's absolutely one of my favorite things. And this is kind of a nod to heritage. So I have a long lineage of Charlestonians, and it's a place that I think is just absolutely beautiful. I feel like the people there are just wonderful, and it's kind of a magical place. And I've been telling Shane about Charleston pretty much ever since we started dating. And last February, 2 Februarys ago, he actually got to go for the first time. And
it was amazing. I had the time of my life. I learned a lot. I felt like this deep connection to the history and the past. And it's just beautiful. And if you've never been, when COVID is over, everybody should go and spend their tourism dollars there because it's just stunning. Pralines. Oh my God. Just the food there is amazing. We gained like 10 pounds in 6 days. Seriously, that's no joke. Everything had tomatoes, fried green tomatoes. And pimento cheese. Everything was fried. And it was awesome. And my musical dads are in Charleston, so I moved there. I've been going to see family since I was a little kid, but then when I was 21, I actually left Chicago and moved to Charleston to live with my grandmother, and met Roger Bello and Bob Sachs, and they musically took me in right away. And I showed up to Town and Country Music, which is this amazing kind of shack, and there was Roger with all these amazing guitars, and he just welcomed me. And that first night I was there, he invited me to come play a gig with him, and that was kind of it. So they really taught me the ropes, and I got to play with some amazing musicians. I got to play with John Spell, who is the pedal steel player for Hank Williams, and just tons of others. So this is an homage to my love of Charleston, and then the song we're gonna play for you today is called Whisper. That's on North of Highway 8. That comes out December 20th, and that song is all about the whispers of your past heritage and how that just really shapes you. So let's get to cooking. So this is a really simple recipe. There's very few ingredients. The cooking is really easy. If you are lucky enough to have a Charleston rice cooker, that is amazing. I have been trying to find one for years, but you can just do this in a Dutch oven and it works out just fine. So really all it is you've got 2 cups of white rice, about 2.5 cups of water, tomato paste, onions, a little bit of sugar and pepper, and then the star, the bacon. So you can get regular bacon, but I prefer the thick cut bacon because it's just better. So we're gonna cut up our onions first. And really it's 2 large onions. I have a large onion and 2 baby onions, so it'll be about the same. And what's cool about this is once we cook the bacon, we actually cook the onions in the bacon fat, so they get all caramelized and specked with bacon dust. Oh, and the smell in the house is glorious. Yeah, it's pretty great. And I haven't made this in a while, which is pretty, whoop, come here, onion. It's pretty exciting. It's probably why we're still alive. It's probably why we're still alive. You can probably have this a couple times a year. It's kind of like fried chicken. Southern food, everything's fried or has bacon in it, and it's pretty great. So when we went down to Charleston, we've been having this, this was a staple of Megan's that she's been cooking for me since we started dating. And we actually went to a shack in the middle of nowhere in Charleston and had their red rice, and this tasted just like it. I felt pretty excited that I learned how to cook it from my mom, and my mom learned how to cook it. Honestly, I don't know if it was from her mom or she had a nanny named Frida who I think probably taught my mom most of her cooking techniques. But it was really cool that mine tasted like the down-home red rice. You can put sausage in it if you want. You can put green peppers, but I'm a purist, and I just like it the way it comes. You can see right here I've got my handy-dandy recipe from my Charleston Receipts cookbook. That is a staple. So you're just going to want to chop them up, not fine, just kind of a rough chop. You can kind of see, not super crazy small. This is a nice rustic dish. I like rustic dishes because I'm not great at chopping consistently, so it makes me feel good about my chopping.
Okay, so we've got our onions chopped, and now it's time to cut up our bacon. So the recipe says about 8 slices, but I pretty much cut up the whole package because it's delicious. It's thick, so I'm going to section it off a little bit just so I can get my knife through it. Okay, so we've got our thick bacon, and I've cut it basically in half, and then I'm just going to chop it up into cubes, and then we're going to head over to the Dutch oven and we're going to start sauteing this. All right, so I'm getting about halfway through this package of bacon, and it's a lot of bacon. I mean, I love bacon, but one has to protect their cholesterol and blood pressure and heart. So I think we're only going to chop about half a package because it's so thick. If you use a regular thickness of bacon, you'll probably want to do the whole pack. But I think this is going to be good. You know what that means? We've got bacon for something else.
Bacon for days.
Our cat's about to make a flying leap onto the island from the table.
Maybe we can catch it in slow motion.
Come on, Sammy, you can do it, buddy. Come terrorize me.
I think in proper cat form, he's thinking about knocking something off the table instead.
Yes, we have 2 cats. Pete is our sweet old buddy who totally is more like a dog, and then Sammy's a disaster.
A lovable disaster.
A lovable disaster. Okay, so we're ready to head over to the Dutch oven and start sauteing. Then we're going to put it all together, get it to a boily, wonderful concoction, and then we'll put the lid on and walk away. And then when we're done, we're going to have amazing red rice. All right, so we're over here by our Dutch oven. The best thing about a cast iron pot is it pretty much can last you your whole lifetime. Thank you to my sister for buying me this one. And they take a beating. It's great. So I'm getting my pan heated up. I've got my stove on medium high. We're going to dump the bacon in, and we're going to saute it till it's really good and crispy. Then we're going to take it out, drain it, and then we're going to get the onions going.
And I'm just here to watch
and smell.
And also because we're called Megan and Shane, so I'm the
It'd
Shane
be weird
part.
if you weren't in it. It'd be like Megan and Shane, but who's Shane?
The mystery man.
Mystery man. So I have tons of childhood and adult memories in Charleston that place is really special to me. When I was a little kid, we'd go visit my grandmama there every summer, and we'd hang out on the beach and eat boiled peanuts and cold shrimp dipped in ketchup that we would get off of the pier that had literally just come out of the ocean. And this and hush puppies were also like a staple. So when I eat red rice, I feel it's just really comforting. My grandmama was a pretty amazing lady, and I've got some great memories of her. And then moving back there at 21 and kind of seeing it from a different perspective as being an adult was really cool. And I played farmers markets and different clubs, and it was really where I cut my teeth and figured out what kind of a musician I wanted to be. And we played a lot of country and a lot of bluegrass, and I'm very grateful for it.
So when we were there, it was pretty cool because Megan got in touch with this spiritual.
I always have reservations about things. I am adventurous, but I have to know the whole scenario before I jump in.
So there's a couple times we were just walking down the street, and Megan's like, "Hey, what's this weirdo gate right here? Let's walk through it." And we walk in, and there's this cemetery from the late 1700s, and we walked around, and it was just beautiful. And then one night we were walking back, and
we'd had a couple glasses of wine at this point,
and we saw this church that had the doors open and lights coming out of it.
And music.
And she's like, "I hear music, let's go." And so we went up there, and it was this women's empowerment meeting.
And the mayor of Charleston was there playing the keyboard.
Yeah. So there's a band playing, and there's all these ladies there, and there's lots of wine. And I had to use the restroom, and right when we got
it was
there,
a private party. This was people. It was a gala. People paid hundreds of dollars for a table.
And I came back from the restroom, and all of a sudden, Megan had sandwiches and wine, and all the ladies from the gala were around her, talking to her and offering her free things, and it was just a really spiritual thing, and they just connected with her right away, and because that's what she does.
Well, and Charleston is my city. You know, I really realized, going back as an adult and seeing it through another lens and bringing you there, like I realized that I have deep Southern roots that I'm very connected to, and I think I just embraced it.
Someday, it'd be nice to move there.
Yes, the ocean's so beautiful. Sullivan's Island, Isle of Palms, the food. All right, so our bacon's gonna take a few minutes to get where it needs to be, so we'll see you back in a few. All right, so we're getting to where we need to be with the bacon. It's starting to get brown. It's really thick bacon, so it's gonna take a bit longer than normal bacon, but you want it to get like really charry and brown, and you want there to be bits on the bottom of the pan. And once we take the bacon out, we're gonna drain some of the fat before we cook the onions. This recipe pretty much will feed a family of 4 or 5. It's just Shane and I, so we'll have this for dinner and then we'll have it for lunch for a couple days, which is cool. So it's a big batch that you can make and you can have it throughout the week. All right, we're almost there. So if you can see, it's getting really brown. The oil's super bubbly. That's a good thing. So another favorite Charleston thing is, whoa, okay, come on, little guy, is starfish. So on the beach there, starfish will just pop up. When the tide goes out and there's water in the gullies, like as a kid, we would go find and play with the starfish, and then Shane saved a starfish from demise when we were there last time. We did a lot of shelling. We did a late night shelling trip, and the wind was like, I'm exaggerating, but it felt hurricane strong.
It was pitch black. You couldn't see you couldn't see 2 inches in front of your face. It was pitch black, freezing out, and so windy because it was in February, and
we're like, let's go to the beach and pick some shells up.
And we did, and we turned on our camera phones, and
the lights, the flashlight.
We turned on the flashlights of our camera and then used that to find the shells and to find our way back so we didn't end up in the ocean.
It was pretty great. That was a good trip.
Great trip.
All right, so our bacon is pretty much crispy and done. I'm gonna pull it out with a slotted spoon onto some paper towels so that the oil can drain and that the oil can kind of settle down for a second, and then I'm gonna dump about half of it out into a bowl to discard later, and then we're gonna add our onions. Okay, I want you all to see all those brown bits. That's the money right there. When the onions go in there, it's gonna release, when the onions go in, they're gonna release a lot of moisture, and then that's gonna effectively deglaze all of those bits from in there, and that's kind of the magic right there. Okay, we gotta say bye-bye to about half this oil.
Bye-bye, oil.
Bye, oil. It's too much fat. That's pretty good. So it should kind of like, I'm gonna put this over here. It should coat the bottom of your pan and have a little bit left. Now we're gonna put the onions in all at once, and it's gonna hiss a bit. That's a happy sound.
And a happy smell.
You want to give them a good stir right away. That's going to deglaze all those bits. Oops, there's another little bacon bit in there, but that's okay. Now you're going to want to be at about medium on your heat. You don't want it to be too hot, and you don't want to burn the onions right off the bat.
You got the most important part right here. It's a step that...
He has to make sure the bacon's good. Food face. All right. Now the house is starting to smell incredible. So it smells like bacon, and then you throw the onions in that bacon grease, and it's like oniony bacon magic. So we're gonna cook this down for like 2-3 minutes. You want the onions to get soft, a little bit translucent, but not fully cooked. After that, we're gonna add 2 cups of water, a can of tomato paste, about a teaspoon of sugar, and some cracked pepper, and we're gonna bring that to a boil. The original recipe also calls for salt, but I feel like the bacon gives you enough salt. I'm not gonna add any more. All right, see that? Magic. Southern magic. So I would love to hear from you guys what your favorite food cities are. Like, what gives you comfort? Is it a Midwestern city? Is it California fish tacos? Is it a Philly cheesesteak? I think that food, much like music, tells a really cool story, and there's memory to it. There's scent memory with food. There's that comfort of knowing you're going to bite into something that your grandmother made. And I feel like a good song is totally that way too, where it just brings back feelings. Okay, we're in the home stretch, so we're going to add about 2.5 cups of water, our tomato paste, and some sugar.
Oh.
All right, so we've got our 2.5 cups of water in. I put about a teaspoon and a half of sugar, and that just cuts the acidity from the tomato paste, and it also does sweeten it up a little bit, which is kind of nice. And we're going to get the tomato paste in there. We want to bring this to a boil before we put our rice in. I don't know if you can see our dog Loretta, but she would like to be in the shot.
I think Loretta likes the smell of bacon too.
I think she does too. I think she's hoping for some. So you can see I've got the tomato paste in there, and you really want to stir it up and get it mixed in, and it's already just melting into the water. And this is just making this like, peppery, tomatoey, oniony kind of broth for the rice to go in and soak up all the liquids. Oh, hi girl. Yep. All right. So we're going to wait for this to get to a boil, and then we're going to put the rice in, cover it, reduce the heat, and walk away. All right, so everything has come to a rolling boil. I'm going to add my rice in, bring it back to a boil, cover it, and put it down to low and just let it simmer for about 15 minutes. A few minutes into that, I would give it a stir so your rice doesn't stick to the bottom and burn. And then after that, I will see you guys for a tasting. Yum. I'm excited. It's been a while since we've had this.
I'm totally excited.
This song is called Whisper, and we hope you enjoy. When I was a little girl, I'd hear whispers all the time, calling from so far away. I'd always wondered why. I'd imagine walking through fields of emerald green. I'd always want that place to last, a whisper from the past. As I grew older, I could feel them guiding me, centuries of heredity from across the sea. I could feel their hands in mine, those women who were strong. I'll try my best to carry on, a whisper from the past, a whisper from the past, a whisper from the past. And as I'm lying here, headed to the light, you lie right next to me with your hand in mine. I can almost feel it now, those fields of emerald green. And if you ever find yourself in need, hear my whisper from the past, a 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 whisper from the past. Oh, 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 oh. All right, here is the best part. You ready for it? Are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
All right, here we go. Steamy, glistening. You can see all the onions, but here's really the best part. We're going to put the bacon bits right on the top. So you can do this in the bowl for each serving, or you can mix it in. I like them to be crispy, so I'm just going to put them right on top. So when we dig our forks in there, we're going to get bacon on our fork. All right, are you ready to try this with me?
I'm so ready.
So we want to get the onions. You got a little baby bite.
Well, I can't be outdone.
Nope. All right. Oh! Cheers.